Welcome back to Reliving Retro. This is Season 2, Episode 7, and we have a very special guest on. I'll allow him to introduce himself. Go ahead, man.
Hey, how's it going? I'm John Rue from the Retro Room Games, and I make and publish video games. Sometimes I license games and just try to be really heavily involved in the preservation of old consoles that I grew up with. Really glad to be on the show. I appreciate you guys having me.
Of course, man. Excited to have you.
Yeah, thank you.
So just a couple of getting to know you questions.
Sure.
What would you say your introduction to gaming was? Maybe your first console, how you got it, that kind of thing?
My aunt and uncle had an NES at their house, and we'd go over there for dinner whenever I was real young. Like I must have been maybe like 5 or something like that. And they had like a handful of games. They had Super Mario Bros. They had Arkanoid. They had Dragon Warrior. And I played over at their house, and that was kind of my introduction to gaming in general. I was extremely young whenever I first got my hands on it, and probably awful. I didn't really,
Right.
Who knows, but I do remember that was like my introduction to it.
It's awesome. What would you say your favorite types of games are to play, like your favorite genres?
Oh, that's tough, man. It depends on the day of the week.
Yeah.
I like RPGs. I like action RPGs. Probably my favorite's probably like an action RPG game.
Yeah. Do you have a favorite of like that kind of genre? Like, are you like a Final Fantasy guy, or are you more like Zelda when it comes to like action RPGs, like that kind of stuff?
Both, honestly. Like I like your traditional menu base, but I also like my favorite game of all time is A Link to the Past, Zelda for the Super Nintendo, and it's just such a all around fantastic game. It's one that I just absolutely love. So
yeah, we just played that one to kick off Season 2. So Episode 1, Season 2, we just played Link to the Past. It was a lot of fun.
It's so good. Yeah, it's so good. But I do love Final Fantasy games as well. I love menu based RPGs. I made a menu based RPG, so it's definitely like
what's it called?
It's called Quest Arrest.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's for the Game Boy, and it took like inspiration from like Pokemon or something like that. One of those like RPGs that pretty much anybody can play, like even people who don't really maybe traditionally enjoy RPGs.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, that's definitely awesome. So so this week we're playing SSX Tricky. Next week we will be drawing from our Patreon pool, and it's a much smaller pool of games to select from. So if you want to get your game on there, it's $5 a month to support. Cool. And this season we will be giving away one of the games that we are playing. So
cool.
To one of the patrons, to one of the patrons, we're going to be randomizing from the 12 games that we play this season, and we will be giving away one of those games. And we've played some amazing games so far this season. We've had Link to the Past, Silent Hill.
Also good.
Yeah, so some pretty good games on there.
Bangers, you could say.
Yeah, bangers and bops.
Yeah, bangers for sure.
Absolutely. So like I said, $5 a month to support us on the Patreon. We certainly appreciate it. This week though, SSX Tricky. This game was released for the PS2, the GameCube, and I also believe for the Xbox. How did you guys play it this week? Rue, you want to start off?
I thought I had it for the GameCube, but I ended up having it for the PS2.
Nice.
So
okay,
cool.
Played it on the PS2. It was my first time ever playing it. And I'm honestly like terrible at video games. I just like playing them. I'm awful at them. I feel like, if I was to become a streamer, I would be really frustrating to watch, but I had fun with it. It reminded me of like Cool Borders meets like Road Rash or something like that. You could like punch each other, and it was pretty cool.
Well, what's funny is before the show, me and Yaiser were kind of talking about it a little bit, and he said it gave a kind of like a Crazy Taxi vibe. And I'm like, I do get that. It does kind of give me a Crazy Taxi vibe, because it's like an arcade game, kind of like that's.
It's wacky too, It's like
it definitely is. Yaiser, how'd you play it?
I wish I had it on original hardware, but I emulated it.
Yeah, I emulated
Whatever
it also.
works.
I could have swore I had it on the PS2, and I was gonna I went out there and I was like, I'm gonna go grab it off the shelf, and I'm like, it's not here. I could have swore I had it. I guess I didn't.
I definitely had it on GameCube, but it's fucking gone.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah.
When I was a kid, I played it on PS2. Yaiser, you played it a lot as a kid also?
Yeah, on GameCube. And
Yeah.
me and my buddy Dane played it a lot on his PS2. So
Nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
so full disclosure, this emulator I used had this pretty game-breaking glitch in it, unfortunately, where you would fall through the snow and then your character disappears.
Mm-hmm.
Oh
And
yeah,
it's
that's a good one.
Yeah, you didn't have that problem playing it on the PS2, right?
No,
No.
I
Okay.
played it for a little while too, and I didn't have
Yeah.
any problems except
Yeah.
for like I'm not that great. I had it on easy mode, so
There you go.
About how long did you play it for, bro?
probably like 45 minutes or an hour, enough to get
Yeah.
some courses down,
Cool.
So I really wanted to get a good feel before I came and talked about it, So
For sure.
Mhm.
Yeah, I played it for about 2.5 hours or so. What about
Cool.
you, Yaiser?
I played it for about 3 or 4 hours, but I had the same problem you did on the emulator. And if you
Right.
watch
Oh, wow.
the playthrough video, which might be out right now, you'll see. You can see what we're talking
Did
about.
it
here.
happened often? Like
Only in like races. If you would like bump into another character, I think for some reason, I feel like he would just float away. He was like up in the air, I think.
Yeah, your glitch that you had was a little different than mine because he would float up into the sky for you.
I think so, but like
My guy
out of
would-
my sight.
My guy would sink into the snow, and then he would just be he would just disappear.
Mm,
And then all I could
Sometimes-
see is the track on the snow.
yeah, that's
Go
all I
ahead,
could
Ru.
see.
sometimes bugs can be fun, but I feel like
Yeah.
you guys missed
Yeah,
out on
yeah.
like a cool component. It was like fun to
Yeah.
smash into the other players and punch them.
Yeah, I
And
know.
I don't know if you guys really got a chance to.
Yeah. Well,
have,
luckily,
do
Yeah.
that.
luckily we had played this game quite a bit as kids.
Yeah, I
so
played it
yeah,
Perfect.
a lot.
I feel like it's a cult favorite. Like it's got this cult following or something. It's like a lot
Yeah.
of people know about it and have played it, except for me apparently.
yeah. I was trying to remember, and I didn't get a chance to look it up. If they had any games recently,
I
like I
don't
was
know.
trying to think if they've come out with any, but
But I remember getting SSX 4 when it came out after Tricky,
oh yeah,
and or maybe I rented it or something. But like, it didn't have the same vibe. I didn't
Wasn't
like
as
it.
good.
Yeah, it didn't get me as good.
Tricky is so 2000s.
Very.
It's so 2000s.
I
From,
like that vibe.
Me
Yeah.
too, dude. That's that's
Yeah,
our
it's
time.
so good.
It's- There was a lot of games that came out like that, like these extreme sports, like aggressive inline, and
Yep.
Mhm.
Matt Hoffman's BMX, and
Mhm.
so it was kind of the time for that.
I never had
Yeah.
Matt Hoffman's BMX, but I did used to play. I think there was a demo for it, maybe for Tony Hawk, and there was this one level where there were like half pipes and stuff like that inside of a gym, and you could jump up and like grind all these pipes that were hanging from the ceiling. And I remember I got good enough just from playing the demo so much of Matt Hoffman's BMX that I could just grind around that pipe for
Consistently,
Yeah, yeah. like 900, like 99,000 points kind of deal. Like I would just do that
It
for
was like an exploit.
Yeah, yeah. For some
It
reason,
was a cool game.
Yeah, it was weird. but,
All of those games were really fun. Honestly, they all kind of felt similar.
mhm.
Mhm.
SSX Tricky was a little different to me because did you guys ever play that game on PS1? I think it was called Too Extreme.
I know the game, but I never played it.
No.
It gave me that vibe too. Like it kind
Yeah.
of felt a little bit kind of like that too. It's
Yeah.
a newer version or feeling of that. Same mixed with Cool Borders, mixed with like I don't know Road Rash or something like that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
no, I definitely get that. Let's get into the story, and I'll kick it off to Yaiser first. What'd you give the story, buddy?
Oh, I gave the story, so I landed at 2.5 stars
Okay.
because there's not really like an actual story.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But like when you do like I forget what it's called, but the story mode, I guess. Each character has like their own relationships with all the other characters too, and I think it's different for like whatever character you're playing and stuff. So there's
Yeah.
like a little bit there. So I didn't go super low, and I think 2.5 is probably pretty fair.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fair. Kind of piggybacking off of what Yaiser said, there isn't really a story to this game. However, so normally when there really isn't a story, I kind of give it like 1.5 kind of thing because
It's
it's
kind of
yeah, it's not story based driven at all. But
which
do
isn't a
love the
bad
fact-
thing. It doesn't
No.
take away from it.
Yeah,
No,
right.
no, because that's not what this game is for, right? Like Crazy
Right.
Taxi, we played last season, and I mean, I gave Crazy Taxi story a 1 because like there's no story to
Yeah,
that
what
game.
is it?
It
Right.
make money, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
I don't want to kill it and give it a 0 because that's not really what it's about. But obviously, it's not a story driven game.
Right.
I gave the story. I was going to give the story for this a 1.5. I bumped it up to a 2 because I really do like the fact that you can make relationships or break relationships, I guess, in this game.
Yeah.
Depending on how you ride with other riders and stuff like that. Like you can make
Right.
enemies if you're constantly like punching them, right? Like Rue said, you can do
Right.
that.
Mhm.
Which is
And
great.
yeah, and you can be
Yeah.
friends with people. And what's cool too is depending on which characters you start off with, you already have different relationships established already.
Mhm.
Like Yaiser, you said you played as who? Mac?
That was Mac.
Yeah.
Always Mac.
And you never had any friends, right?
I had no friends, and I had an enemy already. The big fat mullet guy,
Yeah.
for some reason, was an enemy from the jump.
So I played as Eddie, who was actually voiced by David Arquette.
Oh, really?
And, yeah. So this
Cool.
game actually has some pretty crazy voice actors. Eddie is voiced by David Arquette. Sia is voiced by Macy Gray. Elise is voiced by Lucy Liu.
See, we're going like 90s, 2000s flavor, baby.
Dude, for real.
And Luther is voiced by Oliver Platt. And one reason why I love this game as a kid is because I loved the movie Ready to Rumble. It's a wrestling movie about WCW, and David Arquette is in it, and so is Oliver Platt. So I was like, oh, I think it's awesome that they're both in this game together. So I thought that was so cool when I was a kid. So I was always David Arquette's character, Eddie, which is like the white dude with the afro.
Yeah,
that's who I played as. I think I've just kind of picked him because he was the first one to pick.
Right. So you seem like the main character type of guy.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, exactly. And so they have like different like relationships. Like I said, I started off as Eddie, and he has a friendship already with Elise, like throughout like the first couple races, and he doesn't have any enemies that you race with.
You know what's weird is like when I was playing as Mac, like he, there's like cutscenes before the races.
Yeah.
And like he was talking to one of the girls, I don't remember the name, but like they seemed really friendly, but my relationship status was still neutral with her. So like,
oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, neutral's not like you don't hate her.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it seemed like she was throwing some vibes at me, but I don't know. I guess not that strong.
Yeah, right. Rue, what did you give the story for this game?
I'm just more fair than you guys. I would say a 3 because you had that dynamic of there was some relationship based, like there was some background. If I don't know if my game came with a manual, I'll have to look, but I'm sure in that manual there's something about this, a little more of a dig deep into the lore of SSX Tricky.
Yeah, so, I didn't have a manual, but I looked it up so that I could kind of read it.
Oh, you did good.
Yeah, it's usually try to look up the manual just to kind of get an idea.
But I didn't do it this week.
But yeah, there wasn't a whole lot about background. It really just says like introduction. Really? Yeah, it really just says like introduction, and kind of just says like the game features, and it says SSX Tricky is coming straight at you with insane, sick Uber tricks. You know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. So it doesn't really tell you like about a story, I guess, which again is fine because it's not what this game is.
It's not
for.
that kind of game, right?
No,
like,
not at all.
There's not even like any like character introduction pages on there.
That's what I was thinking.
With, like,
maybe in a strategy guide. You can pick up a strategy guide. Sometimes they had a little extra.
Yeah, I'm sure in the strategy guide. Yeah, but in the manual, I'm not seeing really anything about the characters. It shows basically how to do some advanced tricks. It shows you what each like mode is, whether it's like the trick mode. What's that called again? So what were we talking about?
We were calling it something that it wasn't.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
It's interesting that there's that dynamic added, and they like of relationships, and they didn't really add like background to that, or very much at least.
Right, like Elise and Eddie could be brother and sister or something. We don't know.
Right.
I mean, they're probably not, but it'd be cool to add that kind of stuff for sure.
There's definitely potential there, I would say.
Right. And I think this came after SSX 1 and 2, right? I think this was the third one, even though there was an SSX 3.
Oh, there was?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's weird. I don't know.
I thought 4 came out after this one, but
there's an SSX 3 also.
Oh, maybe that's the one I rented then.
I have some catching up to do personally.
There's a lot of them. Yeah, this is the only one I've ever played or owned though.
Yeah.
So it's interesting. Gameplay for this one. Rue, you want to get it started with gameplay?
Dude, I had a really good time with it. I'll give it a 4.5 out of 5. I thought it was a nice, well polished experience. Like I playing it for the first time years after it was released, and I feel like this would be a really fun game to play with some friends, like on a Friday or Saturday night, have some beers,
For sure.
like hang out and just play this game. So I thought it was really solid. I had a good experience with it.
Yeah, and I'm kind of right there with you. I didn't give it a 4.5, but I did give it a 4. It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun to play. Even it is a little bit like repetitive in the sense that you kind of only race or you kind of only do like the tricks.
Yeah.
But it's still fun every time. Like I had a great time doing the races. The races are what kept glitching me out for some reason. Whenever I would do the the showdown or whatever it's called, the stunt showdown or something. Whenever I did that, it was fine. So, but that's because I think it was like bumping into another character.
Yeah, I think
and when
that's
you
what
do,
did it.
yeah, when you do the trick one, you're on the course by yourself. But getting tricky is so much fun in this game. And when you get tricky and they actually play the song, it's so much fun.
Yeah.
I love that. Yaiser, what'd you give it?
I was all over the place with this one. I couldn't. It took me a while to land on a number.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna go with 4 also though.
Okay, cool.
I think it could have been higher. I could have been there with you at 4.5, but like you were saying, it's a little bit repetitive, and I had to take a little bit off for that.
I could probably see that. I just didn't give it enough time to be able to get to that point.
Yeah, which is
that's
fair.
true.
Yeah.
I was looking at revisiting it, and seeing like what I could get out of it. Apparently it's like the same.
Yeah,
a lot of the same.
Well, I think you could get a ton out of it because one of my favorite parts about the game is when you gold medal an event, your character has this cutscene and every character's is different, and it made me want to go through and play it through all the characters to see everybody's cutscene. And I love also that you can customize your outfit, you can customize the board that you have. So that kind of stuff is cool. I like that you can build your character's stats.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? A lot of that stuff is because it builds like a different type of experience for gameplay. If I want to just focus on tricks, like my guy could be built, even though we're playing the same character, my guy could be built completely different from you, Rue. Like even though we were we were both playing Eddie.
Right.
So I like that idea a lot, just because it gives so much room for replayability, even though it does get a little repetitive in just the gameplay itself.
I could see that, definitely.
Yeah. Yaiser, you want to get it started off for visuals?
Visuals, I think visuals are where this game really like stands out. I think it's beautiful. Like, first of all, the character designs are like super cool, and all the courses are like it's all like lights and flashy, and it's all really cool. I went with 4.5 for visuals.
Oh, okay. That's way higher than I thought you were gonna go.
Oh, really?
I mean, I'm about there.
Yeah.
But I feel like you don't give out that high a score for visuals a lot, so that's why I was just like,
no, not really. But this is like very like, it's shiny. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I hear you. Rue, what about you for visuals?
With Barracuda.
I'm gonna give it a 4, but only because I've seen better looking games on the console. The game was like, the graphics are fantastic. I have nothing bad to say about them at all, and I really like the quirky, like you said, it's kind of like Crazy Taxi. It's like, whoa,
yeah.
So I like that aspect of the graphics. Like you have this dude with a huge fro, and it's like fire red, and it's quirky characters. The art was unique. I think that's really one thing that makes it stand out. Once I actually got my hands on it, though, like the game's really good. It's not to say that quirky games aren't always good, but I didn't know what to expect going in. I'm like, it might be good. It looks a little, it kind of reminds me of like Saints Row or something like that. It's the same kind of
I can get that
vibe, and I'm like, is this gonna have amazing gameplay or something that's gonna be engaging? And I was impressed with it, but I'm gonna have to go with a 4 out of 5.
Cool. I'm right there with you, Rue. I'm at a 4. I do agree with Yaiser. I think for the most part, this game is pretty, like, visually, it's pretty impressive. One thing that I thought was really cool that they did was, and because I feel like with games like this, oftentimes they don't get this, detailed with like not only like the snow like spraying off of the board as it's going down the hill, but also the tracks, like the imprint of the tracks from the snowboard. I thought was really cool.
Yeah. If it weren't for that, it'd be unplayable when that glitch happened.
Yeah, true. Yeah, because when that glitch happens, I only know where I am because of the track
Yeah.
in the snow.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Good luck doing tricks. You can't flip or nothing. You have no idea if your head's up.
Oh,
or
that's a
down or
bummer.
whatever.
Yeah. Again,
you-
you guys didn't get the opportunity.
I
I know.
know.
I was so
To
pissed when it
experience,
happened.
yeah.
It happened once, and I was like, maybe it won't happen. It just kept going. I was so
Yeah.
mad
That
because
sucks.
But that's when you just switch to like the trick portion
yeah,
because it doesn't happen in that one. So we
Right.
still had a lot of fun
yeah,
playing
those
the
two
game.
aspects are like so solid. The punching each other and
I know.
Yeah.
It's
yeah. I
just
feel like the trick part. I
the
think
tricks.
that's the thing that's most repetitive because like the races, I know you got different people every time. They get harder and harder with each heat.
Yeah.
Are you able to
and it
pull
just-
combos like during tricks? Because it just seemed kind
Oh,
of
yeah,
a little
yeah,
bit
yeah.
stiff to me.
Yeah, so you can like if you're holding like R2 or whatever in midair, then you can change it to like L2 and then R1 or whatever, and then it kind of builds up your combo if you're changing like the different holds or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's not a lot you can do, I guess, other than flip and do your grabs, unless you can unlock more tricks, which I can't remember if you can, but I only played it for a couple hours this past week. So
I was consistently eating shit, so I feel like
I was too.
I feel like I wasn't doing the tricks right. I was trying to do combos, boom, eat shit. So
Yeah, it's hard. You have to time your jump like perfectly when you're going off the ramp, because if
Yeah.
you don't, then you really miss like max air that you can get. And especially when you try to do these tricky tricks, I guess.
Yeah, you got to really make sure.
Yeah, you have to make sure. Like Eddie's tricky, like one of his trickies is where he like grabs the board, he puts it on his face, and he spins it like it's a propeller, and then he puts it back down
Yeah.
and gets back on it. And I'm like, no shot I'd have the chance to land that if I wasn't like hitting max air like off this jump. So yeah, you have to hit max air if you want to hit those trickies. And
I feel like I got a good air, but it just felt so stiff, and then I would just,
I think also, so I played as Mac, who has like the best starting stats for tricks.
Yeah.
And it was super. I think my high score on just the thing, I think I got like 466,000 one time.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Well,
it's
so
easy.
Yaiser,
One of his trickies, if you get enough air, you can do it twice in the same jump.
Jeez.
He just does like a kick flip.
Yo, you were watching me play.
Yeah.
And when you were watching me play, I was like, look at how slow Eddie is, like
He is
in the
slow.
air.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to flip with Eddie, and he's very, very slow. So if you don't build your trick like right off the bat with him,
Mhm.
you're gonna have a rough time trying to do flips and spins and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it does seem super clunky, I think,
It
if
was
you're in the
stiff,
air with
yeah.
Eddie. Yeah.
Yeah,
Especially
Mac-
not knowing what I'm doing at all. So it,
Oh, yeah.
was
It takes-
definitely-
It definitely takes a few runs to kind of get to it. But yeah, like just like visually for this game, like I didn't think like for a snowboarding game they're going to be able to really make it anything other than white and trees, right? But like, you know, the background is pretty cool looking, and I love all of like you can like smash through glass and grind on these.
yeah, there
like,
was
that kinda
those
stuff is really cool.
obstacles. That was
Yeah.
neat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the
Um,
way that they just the way that they design their courses and stuff. It wasn't just boring one white slope going down, you know what I
Right.
mean?
They had those big like the bonus things, like they had the big balloons or like a teddy bear or whatever, and then they had the big giant flashy snowflakes, the yellow and red ones for the bonuses.
And then there's also I guess this was a little bit more for gameplay, but it reminds me of visuals just because of how flashy they are. The red and yellow, like the boosts. They have like a speed boost and they have a trick boost that you can hit right before you go off a jump. And that's pretty awesome when you can do those. But yeah, so I gave it a 4, and then Rue gave it a 4, and Yaiser gave it a 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
I'll start off with sound. I think the sound in this game is pretty amazing, actually.
Yeah.
I was pretty close to giving it a 5 out of 5.
Oh,
all the way.
But I knocked it down because the voice acting can get a little repetitive, and it's kind of corny. But some of it's pretty funny though.
Yeah.
You know, on the first playthrough. You know what I mean? But I remember as a kid turning off, because you can go through like the sound settings and you can make it so like you can only hear the music and like the sound effects and not the voicing.
Oh.
And even though like I was excited to play as like David Arquette's character, because I liked him as an actor when I was a kid, because he was in like the Scream movies and Ready to Rumble and that kind of stuff. But I remember as a kid turning off the character volume. So I gave it a 4.5, but some of the music in this game, it brings you right back to that early 2000s.
Oh yeah.
I love that vibe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
when
me
you
too.
when you win gold as Eddie, it sounds like Limp Bizkit. Like it's playing like Limp Bizkit
Yeah,
tracks or
for
something
real.
like
It
that. It
really
sounds
does.
exactly like that. And when you win as Mac, it's like hip hop, right?
It's more hip hop,
Yeah.
but very, very 2000s hip hop.
Yeah, for sure. So I gave it a 4.5. What about you, Rue?
I was playing as Eddie, so I experienced that rock music vibe,
Yeah.
and I really like the early 2000s. It was just a really cool era. So
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
it's got a good vibe. So I have to give it a 4.5. I mean a 4 out of 5. Sorry.
No,
Like you said, it is a little bit corny. It's cheesy at times,
mm-hmm.
which I like. I feel like that gives it like a little bit of a bonus, you know?
Yeah, because it's like fun, right? It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's just a fun game to play.
Yeah. The sound design isn't like something to like brag up. This is what you're gonna see in the cover of a magazine. It's like, oh,
Right.
this you got to hear this, you know. But
Yeah.
but it was really good. It was well presented, and
Mhm.
again, like that nostalgia kind of kicks in, and it just
For sure.
feels good, you know.
Yeah, I mean
It's like that era of those extreme sports games, you know. It's
yeah.
really fun.
It's certainly not like the, orchestra type of music that you'd hear in like
Right.
Final Fantasy games or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not these like grand epics that you hear in Legend of Zelda and that kind of stuff.
No.
But
Right.
man, does it fits the genre so perfectly. It's so good.
I mean, you couldn't put the orchestra to it, you know. That'd be just silly.
Right.
Yeah.
So
For sure. Yaiser, what about you for sound?
I landed on 4 also.
Nice.
Yeah, for all the same. All the music is great. All the voice acting is great. And like you mentioned earlier, when you finally get your tricky bar up and that you hear the bell and the fucking song comes on, it's we're vibing.
Yeah, it's great.
Also, the announcer.
The announcer is good.
I love that guy.
Thank you for bringing that up because sometimes I forget about him.
Yeah,
but yeah, he is good.
He knows all the names of all the tricks.
He does, and he won't. He loves making fun of you if you grab the same. If you do the same trick over and over again.
You gotta try another trick.
Yeah, he's like, you gotta change it up.
I think you get half points if he's telling you.
You don't get hardly any points if you keep doing the same trick over and over again. But like, it's like, I don't know, I barely ever get air. I can't remember what I picked last time I got air.
I just have a habit of holding up and left and my L2 R2 or R2 R1.
Yeah.
So I just do the same Misty flip, same grab every single time.
Yaiser, where are you at for aged?
Aged, I'm also at 4 again.
Okay.
I think it aged pretty well. The only thing that really knocked it down even a little, which I mean 4 is good.
Yeah,
it didn't knock it down too much, but it's just the repetitiveness. And I think, man, if I was able to do races without that glitch, I think it would probably be higher.
Yeah.
And I'm trying not to like judge it for that because it's not the game's fault. But
no, it's the emulator. Yeah. Reason.
But yeah, 4 is still a pretty good score. This game's a lot of fun.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Rue?
I say it aged really well. And me being somebody who had never played it as a kid or anything like that, there was no background with this is the first time that I had played it.
Yep.
I thought it was great. Like I said, I didn't give it enough time to feel that real repetitive nature. But even if it was repetitive, it feels like a fun game to just drink beer with your friends and just fuck around with, you know?
Yeah.
It just seems like that kind of Friday night vibe where you don't take it too seriously. If you've had a couple too many, then it doesn't really hurt you. You know, it's you're still having fun. It's like Mario Kart. It's the same way, you know, like who cares if you lose a little bit? It's like you're just in it for the slams, you know?
Well, you say that at a perfect time, actually, because last night while I was playing SSX Tricky, Yaiser was right next to me. We were playing in a charity stream for Mario Kart 8. And
oh yeah, I saw that. I saw the links.
Yeah, so we were playing in that, and Yaiser, and Yaiser did really well for the first 2 rounds, and maybe 11 Yinglings later, maybe not so well in the championship round.
I bet you still had a good time though. You know?
It was so much fun.
Yeah, for sure.
But
did have a great time.
Maybe a couple too many.
So I'm sorry, Rue. What did you rate that?
The age I gave, like I said, I didn't give it enough time to get bored with it, so I gave it the 4.5.
Oh, okay, cool.
You know, I feel like maybe if I would have spent like you guys did 2 or 3 hours playing the game, that maybe I would probably get to that point. But again, this just feels like one of those games that you're with the bros, Friday night, just messing around, drinking some beers,
Yeah.
being degenerates.
Yeah.
It feels like that kind of thing.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. Man, I feel like I should raise it up a little bit because you guys have it up there, but
I do that sometimes.
yeah, I'm just gonna go with what I have it as like originally, I think, just because that's what I wrote down normally, right? I put it at a 3.5, but hear me out. Okay,
I'm listening.
3.5 is not a bad score. You know what I mean? Listen, okay. I had it at a 3.5, and the reason to me is that it did age in the sense that it dates it to exactly when it came out because of the music.
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean? And
I could see that.
It's not a bad thing, but I think that maybe somebody who didn't come from that era probably would be like, "What's this?" You know what I mean?
Yeah, they think it's like, again, cheesy or silly.
Yeah. Cheesy, silly. The music is probably it's outdated, right? Like that's not music that anybody hears on the radio now. I think if you hook up this game for a 12-year-old to play, they're gonna be like, the music's awful.
Yeah, this is
you know what I
a
mean?
weird game.
Even though we all like that type of music because we were born
Yeah.
probably all around the same time, and we grew up with that music.
Oh yeah.
It brings us back to a time where we really appreciated that type of music and the type of game that it is. But I do think that because of that, it kind of dates itself, which is the only reason why I took it out of the 4 category.
That's a really good point, actually.
I get that. Yeah, definitely. I it's hard to like not look at something with nostalgia goggles,
Yeah, which I was gonna say, it's awesome that you were able to play it this week for the first time.
Yeah.
And you were able to give it, as many good scores as you did, because it really does show that it did age well, right? Because you, as somebody who's never played it before, for sure, that's awesome.
I thought it was worthy. I thought it was really good. I like it's one that I will go back to and play again.
Yeah, that's awesome. Because this too, it doesn't have like a lot of prestige around it, right? It's not like I'm telling you to play Link to the Past for the very first time. It's SSX Tricky, like, you know what I mean? I don't know if like a lot of people have even ever heard of this game, so
you're not like, you have to try this. Like,
right, exactly. Yeah, there aren't people like
the holy grail of games.
It does seem like it has like this cult following of people who really enjoy it, though. It does seem like that kind of game.
For sure.
It's not like this epic journey to talk about, it's just a fun little, it's like talking about Tony Hawk. It's like, it's great. It's a great game. It's so fun, but it's just, I mean, it is what it is. You skateboard.
Exactly. So as far as like overall ratings go, this might be a first. I was the lowest on it.
Oh,
at a 3.6, which is still pretty good.
It's okay.
Pretty good score. And Yaiser, you were at a 3.8, and Rue was the highest at a 4.
Okay.
See, I feel like that's fair for like the way that I feel about it. Looking at it, like, oh yes, it's a deserving 4.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a good game.
I might have been a little too harsh on it in the story aspect of it, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
As a developer, it's hard for me to give bad scores or to any game really. So it's one of those things where I'm just like, it's a really good game though. Even still, like even with those kind of like with that little padding that I give games, it's still a really good game.
So the worst game that we've played so far is Superman 64. Have you ever played it?
No, I haven't.
Okay,
but I heard great things.
No,
yeah, I'm sure. So what's funny is we had a couple comments about it, and somebody was like, this is a terrible game. However, every single developer should play it as kind of a template of what not to do.
All right, that's a good point. Definitely.
Yeah. That game, our ratings that day were a 1, a 1.2, and a 2.2 across the board.
I would really love to go and like do this show on a game that is like critically
bad,
like terrible,
bad to people. Yeah, and see we'll think about it.
Well, for sure, like season 3 is coming up in about a month or so, 2 months or so, and we'll invite you back and we'll have you play a terrible game.
Let's do a bad game, dude. Let's do that.
I don't want to do any more bad
I'm telling you, like I'm gonna be fair. I'm gonna be more than fair to it.
We've been pretty lucky, especially season 2 so far. It's been Link to the Past, Resident Evil 3, Super Mario Land 2, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duelist of the Roses, Silent Hill, TMNT 4, Turtles in Time.
Oh, come on.
Oh,
and
that's
then
a great
SSX
game.
Tricky.
Yeah, you got like really good games in there. It's
Yeah,
For sure.
you're having a good time.
And
Yeah.
I'm just randomizing them out of lists. You know what I mean? Like I have
Oh, that's cool.
we have a big master list of games that either we've put some on ourselves or people from our YouTube have put in the comments, and we
Yeah, I
put them
like
on
that.
there. Yeah, and then a lot of them too are from our guests. So
That's
I'm
cool.
actually
You
gonna.
guys get to play like just new games all the time. Then
Yeah, I mean
Yeah,
the
it's
whole reason
awesome.
why we wanted to start the show is just because we were talking about. I think you and I were just talking about how we missed out on playing a bunch of older games. Like
Mhm.
I had never played any of the Mega Mans. I never played Link to the Past. When we played Link
That's
to the
great.
Past just a month or so ago,
Yeah,
that was my first ever playthrough of it.
dude, what did you think?
so good.
I had it rated where is it?
That's my favorite game of all time,
Yeah.
dude. That is
Oh,
the
shit.
one for me.
I had it rated a
curious.
4.6 out of 5.
So you
Yeah.
gave it a good one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
That game's a banger, bro.
I was
It's
the
so
lowest on
good.
that one too. Actually, Yaiser was 4.7, and our guest was 4.8.
So good.
Yeah.
Solid.
Yeah, I mean that's easily the best rating any game has gotten so far.
Did you get far in the game or?
I can't remember exactly where. I think I got 3 pendants.
So
Oh,
you
you
got
didn't make it to
got
the
a
dark
real
world?
nice feel of it.
I didn't make it to the dark world yet.
Oh
No.
geez, you didn't even start the game.
Yeah.
I know.
You got a good feel. Got a good
Yeah,
feel
yeah,
of
yeah.
it. Did you play any other Zelda games?
The only other ones that I played Ocarina of Time. I played Ocarina when I was a kid, and I only messed around with it. I didn't really play it because I didn't really understand it a whole lot when I was a kid. And then I played Breath of the Wild for a little bit. On
I
the Switch
haven't played Breath
recently.
of the Wild. It looks
Oh,
awesome.
dude,
It's a
so good.
beautiful game.
I'm a fan of Zelda games too.
It's
so.
like Dark Souls meets Zelda.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
It's awesome.
For sure. Yeah. I want to get to some more Zelda games. Definitely. Now,
Good ones.
this is the point in the show where we randomize for the next game, and I'll give you a second or two to kind of figure out what game you want to recommend. Sound
For
good?
me,
Yeah.
oh man, I'm always gonna go with the Super Nintendo. With it.
There you go.
Always.
We played a bunch of them.
It's my favorite console, and another one of my favorite games on the Super Nintendo is Donkey Kong Country 2.
Nice. So we played Donkey Kong Country in season 1, but we haven't played number 2 yet.
Number
and
two.
even though number two is like more like critically acclaimed than the first one, like most people say that number 2 is better than the first one.
It's heat, man. It's to me it's better,
Yeah.
but I gotta say all three of those games I really enjoyed. The third one gets a lot of bad rep, man, but I really liked it.
It does, but it's because Kiddy Kong is trash to control.
Yeah.
That's what most people say anyway.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Diddy Kong 2.
It feels a lot like Donkey Kong, you know?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
they're
Donkey
both
Kong
really slow and big, luggish characters. I always went straight to Diddy.
for sure. Yeah, Donkey Kong Country 2 is always considered the best, basically because it's Diddy Kong and Dixie Kong, and they both control
The two
amazing.
awesome characters.
Oh,
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't know why they didn't continue with that more. I guess they kind of did. They brought it back.
Can I just say, Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest is a very confusing name. I always thought it was Diddy's.
Dude,
Diddy
I had
Kong's
the same.
Quest.
I always thought the same thing, and I feel like they probably did this on purpose as a play on words, like
Right? Yeah.
But I flipped it the same way.
Yeah. Instead, like I always read it as like Diddy Kong's Quest. It's Diddy's Conquest.
Yeah, it's like our dyslexia just like kicking in.
Yeah. I've always thought that. I always thought I was dyslexic, and I think I proved it. All right, but I'm gonna hit this randomizer button, and we're gonna pull up the next game.
Sweet.
Cool.
All right. So next week we will be playing. This is a Patreon game, by the way, and it was submitted by Jack.
Oh,
cool.
So this game was released in 2002. It is a racing adventure game, and it was developed by E-Game. Any guesses? No, I didn't think so. I'd never heard of this game. This game is called Road Trip Adventure for the PS2.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm pretty excited to play it because I've never heard of it. Yeah, never heard of it before.
Me either.
So
I never heard of it either. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean that's that's essentially it. That's we did the whole thing, I think.
We did it all.
Yeah,
uh
really cool. It's a cool concept.
yeah, so well, I guess a couple more questions before we let
Sure.
you go here. Something that we kind of usually do is we go through and we one at a time talk about whether or not we would relive this game, right? It's called Reliving Retro, so we want to kind of give our point of view. Would we relive this game? Would we tell somebody else that they should relive it? The basic question is, if somebody asked you, hey man, I've never played SSX Tricky before, should I go out and buy the game? What would you say?
Not for $1 million or something, you
Right.
know. I don't know how much it's worth. I bought it for $4 and it's well worth that, you know.
Oh, fuck yeah.
So I have no idea what it's worth, but I would say yeah, it's a good game. You know, I don't know.
Yeah, so
You know.
the PS2 version right now is going for about $16. The GameCube version is
Okay.
going for about $25, and the Xbox version is going for about $12.
I would say it's worth $16.
Yeah, I would
you
say
could
so
have a
too.
good time with your friends for $16.
Yeah.
For sure.
So
Yeah,
say
I would
yes.
I would definitely recommend that you relive this game.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, same.
You know, we forget that part of the show a lot.
Sometimes we do, yeah.
Yeah.
It's weird. I'm
It's a
like
good
dumb
one.
sometimes.
Hey,
it's fine.
I
feel
don't
that.
think so.
Appreciate it. All right, yeah, guys. So that's about it. Next week is our Patreon episode. Like I said, we are giving away one of the games that we've played, and we've played some absolute bangers this season. So if you want a chance to
Sounds
win
like
that, go ahead and join the Patreon. It's only $5 a month. That's about the price of Yaiser's beer here.
Yeah.
So if you want to buy Yaiser a beer, then $5 a month.
Yeah.
The link for the Patreon is down in the description below, and go check out Rue on everything he's on. You want to go ahead and plug your stuff, Rue?
Yeah, I mean, you can check out my website, theretroroomgames.com. I'm on Twitter, the Retro Room Rue, and Instagram. Pretty much everywhere you could find anyone. I mean, just search. And I use the same logo on everything. So
awesome,
cool.
Thank you so much, Rue, for joining us, and I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate you having me on. I would love
to,
like I said, I'd love to come do a bad game. This one was really good.
Yeah, of course. We'll try and lower the standard next time you come on.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like what's a
yeah,
I'm
like
curious or something,
too.
right? Like ET.
E.T.
Have you ever played that?
I never played ET. No.
Yeah, I've heard.
Oddly,
it's
I have a
I've never
copy
played
of it, but I never played it. My Atari broke, and I got a copy of it after it broke.
Gotcha.
So, but
yeah,
I only got a copy because of the infamous "they buried it in the desert" story.
Yep.
But yeah, you know, I guess that's something to ask your patrons is
right.
What's a bad game?
Yeah,
Maybe Road Trip Adventure is gonna be bad. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows?
Yeah,
that's actually a good thing. So put that in the YouTube comments. Give us some, because on our master list we have a ton of really, really good games. Right?
Sounds like it.
Let's start putting in some bad games too. Yaiser's shaking his head no, but let's do it because we need something for Rue to play when he comes back for season 3. So
give me a bad game to play.
Yeah, so put some bad games down into the comments. And
it's fun. I
I
literally just got a 3DO, and it's apparently full of bad games, but I've had nothing but a great time with it.
Yep.
It's been nothing but a blast to me.
Plumbers
good and bad.
Plumbers
I
don't
did
wear
play
ties.
it.
Yeah. That game.
I guess that's a bad game. Yeah.
I mean, it
you
looks
don't even really play it.
No, it's like a movie that somebody made in Microsoft Paint.
It's that with a bunch of boobies. Well, kind of half like side boobie.
Yeah, it's interesting.
That's cool.
Yeah.
But all right, thank you again so much, man, for coming on. And
thank you,
guys. Join us next week as we play Road Trip Adventures for the PS2.
Yeah.
Take care, guys.
Peace.